Hi, beautiful souls. This is Vladi, and I have an amazing Alan McIntosh here and interviewing him about soon to be international best-selling book, and it's coming out on 9 July. And this book is very unique. And the reason why it's very unique, and let me tell you the name, it's The Joyful Path. And just the name of the book is just incredible because we all would love a joy. And it doesn't matter where we are in a place and how we're feeling and what's happening. We all want to be happier. And Alan's book is just the perfect secret for this. And he will introduce his book a little bit, but I'm going to say Alan is a first-time author, but he has many books in him, and especially setting himself on this beautiful author's journey and becoming who he became in a process of really creating this first baby. I call books babies. It's a great welcome, Alan.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm glad we could get together.
I'm really, really thrilled to introduce your book. So tell us, what was the intention when you've made a decision, or what was the reason you've made the decision to actually write a book?
Yes, well, during the global pandemic or COVID spread worldwide, basically, I noticed that as time went on, the first few months, not contacting with anyone, like you couldn't visit family, all you could do was Zoom or talk on the phone. And what I noticed is I just got more and more uneasy and unhappy and just wasn't sure what was wrong with me, but it was the lack of connection with people, and we had, first of all, I was retired for about 5 years, and then we started a business, which we had to shut down during COVID because it was a refurbishment business for homes. And we had to shut that down just because it became too difficult to get people to work in an enclosed environment inside a house. And the cost of building materials was crazy. And there was just a multitude of factors that made it very, very difficult to continue. So we closed that down for the interim, and I had so much time on my hands that I just found my sense of purpose or my joy was just dwindling. I was feeling more and more uneasy, sort of unhappy. Obviously, things like social media don't help that because people post the negative of what was happening with COVID. Normally, they post, their great vacation or whatever, but with COVID, they were posting negative stuff. So all those things, and news was horrid. So the purpose of this book, I started researching ways to feel better. And what I decided to do is, I'm sure others are suffering from the same fate as I'm suffering. So I need to do something about that. So I started to tinker with the idea of writing a book. And unfortunately, I didn't complete it before COVID ended. That was my intent, but it didn't happen. But you know what? I think it's still very relevant today. I think there are many people that they're not necessarily unhappy, but they feel there's more to life. They feel that there's more that they could do or more that they could have. And I designed this book, as I said in our pre-interview, basically for a layperson. What I mean by that is it's not designed for somebody that does advanced meditation or maybe is into neuro-linguistic programming or advanced studies of different things. This is for the average person on the street. Little suggestions, tools, ideas, ways to change their focus, their thinking, to make their lives happier or to change the way they feel about themselves. That's what it was designed for. And so the book comes out on July the 9th. It is going to be on Amazon. The full title is The Joyful Path, Discovering the Happiness in Everyday Life.
So I love what you said about Joyful Path, because I do feel that really it comes to the point where it doesn't matter where we are in a place of our life, we actually would love to be more satisfied, because every single one of us wants to just be happier and feel appreciated and grow. And I really appreciate what you said about, because I sometimes hear my friends, because I'm in such a deep study, and they almost said it's almost intimidating for them because, they just don't have that kind of like level of and time. And it really comes down to a decision, but because they're not right into the personal development fully, which is okay, everybody's doing what they want to do or desire to do, but they sometimes say like, oh, I don't know where to start because you're just doing so many things and so many levels. So this is a great way to just really connect to the core, which is connect to the be happy, feel happy first, and then all the things will happen. So you can actually tell us more about these strategies, because you mentioned you developed a simple strategies.
So in my book, I talk about simple strategies like our focus, for example. Um, it's very easy to go down a negative path. This is just one chapter there in the book, but as an example, it's very easy to focus on negative. Like I said, during COVID, if you simply watch the news all day, it would drag you down very quickly. So I learned one of the first strategies of feeling better about yourself is to turn off negativity. Now, this can also be, let's say during that time frame, you also had a group of friends that whenever you talk to them on Zoom or on the phone or even in text or whatever method you use, WhatsApp or whatever, they were very negative. And a lot of people were, because we didn't know the outcome, we didn't know the duration. So it was challenging times. But what you need to do is realize that you have to change your focus. In other words, stop focusing on all the negativity, because what purpose or what usefulness does that have in your life? You need to focus on things that you can find that are better, things that you can find that improve your mood. A walk in the park, the joyful path, a walk out in nature, for example, can turn your mood around. Just sitting on the bench and watching the birds and watching the squirrels, those kinds of things. So it's all about different strategies like that to make yourself, if you're staying indoors all the time and not getting out into fresh air, that can have a very negative effect on your mood. Just the fresh air alone, breathing in and breathing out fresh air, can have a significant impact on your mood and the way you feel about life. Our human nature is to be more on the negative side of things, and that was to protect us back in caveman days from predators. The bears, the lions, whatever it was, to be always looking out and always cautious and always fearful. But that doesn't serve us well. And this day and age, we don't need that unless you're walking down a shady neighborhood in the middle of the night. You don't need to be that way. So I've come up with different ideas and strategies along that path. Focus is one chapter. Cultivating resilience, for example, another chapter. Things like that, to embracing the wonders of nature, exploring and appreciating the world around us. Chapters like that help us, as well as our thinking. Like I said, we are prone as a human being to be a negative thinker, and that was from our prehistoric days to protect us. But it doesn't serve us well in this current environment. All of those strategies are meant to uplift us. So that was the point of my book. And as I'll reiterate or say again, it's for the average person, small little strategies, nothing big, nothing intense, nothing that's challenging or difficult, and no hours of study. It's just simple techniques and ideas to make you feel better about your everyday life.
Which is fantastic. And as you were talking, Alan, I just realized that how people sometimes you call it simple, but really I would call it powerful, because nature, when we go to nature, the nature gives us more than we actually give it. Like I know that's one of my thing is actually go outdoors. And the minute you take a walk, and it's even proven, like you've said, if you spend 30 minutes walking every single day, genuinely your health will improve. And as obviously you're in the personal development and understanding that, it is all the levels. It's the body, the mind, and the intellectual. It's not, and spiritual, apologies. It's not one part. It's so interconnected that it provides us happiness. And really
Mhm.
just that simple walk in the nature fulfills the all three areas. And when you were mentioning like watching birds or watching, that's actually one of my books I've started. I was really almost demanding the ideas to come through and got to the point, I was like, oh, come on, I'm in this brilliant mountain lake spot, came to get all this spirit come through me and write. And it wasn't coming because it doesn't always happen the way we demand it or graciously demand it. And I started, there was a duck landing on the lake, and then another duck, and they're starting. And the minute I put and you're talking about this focus, my focus shifted to the ducks. I forgot the resistance, and then the ideas were coming through. So these steps you're describing may be simple, which is great for people because they can apply them fast and they're super efficient. Like they're effective immediately. If you just go for one walk and you come back, you feel like a new person, and if you make a habit of it, you then becoming a really well trained, like you said, in the old days, it was a survival mode. Whereas now, if you actually create a great habits with these simple steps, as you call them, I'm going to call them powerful steps, then everything changes and we start feeling better from within.
Yes.
What would you say, like you've applied all these principles, you really use them. What would you say was the biggest change, like writing the book and actually writing your story, because it is your story and it is a story that you've applied. So you worked on it and you know that it works. How fast can
Um,
people feel the change if they, with the steps you provide?
I think it fairly quickly, like within a day or two, if you start practicing some of these ideas that I've mentioned in the book strategies, I think it can improve your life fairly quickly. Um, I really do. I think that we've talked about the nature walk, getting outside, getting fresh air, um, looking at nature and really observing. Like it's not enough just to take a walk and be looking. Like you'll see people walking through a park and they're still looking at their phone. You could no, that is not the strategy you need. You need to appreciate the nature around you. So you have to put that phone away. You have to actually enjoy your surroundings and take them in. Look at the clouds. But pretend you're a child again, children before the days of everybody having a phone, that is, where you would just maybe take a half an hour and stare at clouds and look at all the neat shapes, and you would imagine them as certain animals or whatever the shape of the cloud was, you would see something in it. You just took time to fantasize and dream a little bit. And we need more of those um, strategies in our lives than the constantly on our phone all the times.
Mm.
Those are just some of the ideas I have in my book, but I plan future books, but this was my first attempt and more strategies to help people. But this is uh, initial strategy to help those people that I think are maybe not well served at the moment. I think a lot of books these days are too complex for the average person to grasp. Like it looks like too complicated. Like I say, meditation can be complicated. Not complicated, but it seems to advanced. And so can like neural linguistic programming. Things like that can be seem very advanced to the average person. And I wanted this to be more that anybody could relate to it. That was my attempt.
I love that, Alan, because it just reminded me of I was talking to some friends and they said it's like almost having a different language because the advanced studying you use a certain language and a normal, and I don't mean normal, I mean like you call them a layman, it's someone who's not in the study in the specific field, you almost don't understand what the people are talking about. And it's the same with coaching. So I think this is really powerful that you're actually making it so amazingly powerful, but easy to understand. And I'm going to use the word ease because it's really important for people to manifest the love, the everything, the love, the work, the health, the money, the financial and time freedom. If they don't feel that it's easy for them to apply the principles, lots of people getting discouraged, and then they don't
Oh,
take the
yes.
actions to which makes them feel good, and they don't put them on the joyful path which you're actually explaining. So it's the ease that actually then allows people to go, oh, this was easy, I'm gonna do it again. Whereas, you know, the more complex stuff, it's great for obviously someone more advanced, but it is more discouraging for a level of people. And this was my friend said to me, you just sometimes when you explaining to us stuff, because I'm so passionate about it, I kind of start talking about it. They said, I have no idea what you're saying, because like alignment, what is alignment like in a normal person's language? So they said it's almost that you're using a different language because it's a vibrational language, isn't it? If we think
Yes.
about the laws, and everybody's in a different frequency, and then depending where people are with the level of awareness, they can't understand certain language. So the better
Yes.
you become, it's like with speaking a different languages, really, that's a good comparison. Because when you go out and you're a beginner and then you intermediary and then you advance, then you go and live in a country and you become better by using it and by studying specific field, and then you become more receptive because you understand. But when we are sort of go like, you know, to a country where you speak a little bit, you have to pay a strong attention, like, and try and figure out what the person's saying. And it's the same with these principles, you know, like people are really looking for something that's easy to apply, something that they
Yes.
can do every day. And obviously everybody is desiring to see the change and to see the effectiveness. And that's what you said. They're simple. And I said they're powerful because they can
Yes.
apply these little things every day and feel better every day. And then when you have the good feeling, you're mastering it. So you're on a joyful path. How did you come up with I absolutely love the title, Joyful Path.
Um, I believe, Googled ideas, put in a description of what I wanted, and I got about, oh, I don't know, 20 or 30 top ones,
Mhm.
and then I went through them and I tweaked it a bit. I think path was there, but I tweaked the joyful,
Mhm.
used different terms there a couple of times. But anyway, I'll be honest, it wasn't all my thinking. Google helped with the term the joyful path, and I figured that was um, a simple but powerful name for the book.
Mhm.
So that was the one I chose.
Oh, that's great because you're just using the tools that are available to you in your creativity. So that's fantastic. So what would you love people when they read your book? What would you love to see?
What I would love to see is people using the tools and the ideas in my book. Um, One chapter is about paying it forward, and that is serving others. So I don't want to get into the details of that,
Mhm.
but um, I I think that strategy of seeing people doing things and helping others is a powerful one. I think that pay it forward strategy could be something I would love to see
Mhm.
more of in the future. So other things. Many other things in there as well, but nothing's coming to mind right at
That's
this
okay.
particular moment.
That's okay. I do encourage everyone to read Alan's book. And any final thoughts or comments for your beautiful audience?
Well, I hope in the near future to come up with more strategies. We will be, we are working on the website, and so I will have more tools and more strategies to help people in the future. And so I will have that probably up just after the release date. So keep tuned for more information on that. But we hope to have a website available with more more tools, more strategies, more ideas, and I hope to publish more books in the future.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your precious time and for sharing
Oh,
about
thank
your
you.
beautiful book. We'll be rooting for you, and I'll put all the details about Alan and where you can find him and follow him and contact him just underneath the link. And if you can buy the book and like it, just let Alan know, because authors love to hear from you readers. Is there anything you really used and how did it impact you? It's like the best thing for an author to seeing others to how are they experiencing the stories and advices their authors give. So please do reach out to Alan, and if you love it, do endorse the book, which is another huge sort of part of journey for author. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. It was wonderful.
Thank you.